Alice and Tom fell asleep for a little while, exhausted after all the arguing. This chapter is chapter 17, Still More Grank, part 2. When they awoke, some guards were standing over them and said they'd been commanded to escort them to the exit gates. As soon as they were alone, Tom said, "Come on, let's go." "No way," said Alice. "I'm enjoying this." "But what if they find out who we are?" whispered Tom. "I hadn't thought of that," Alice replied in a hushed voice. "You're right, we must leave." Tom rolled his eyes. "Young man," Alice called to the guard who'd brought them to the exit gate. "I'm crowning you King Guard of King Grank and Great and Very Grank and Very Great." Alice placed Tom's crown of gingerbread men upon the guard's head. "You shall check each letter and boot out anyone who's not being kind." "Not being kind?" asked the guard. "Yes, anyone who seems nasty," said Alice. "My brother and I have to leave now. We've some more business to conduct for King Grank and so on." "Would you like an escort, ma'am?" the guard asked, looking more and more comfortable with his crown. "No, thank you. We'll be quite all right," said Tom, pushing open the gates. "Good luck with the eviction process." Tom and Alice walked away briskly, but as soon as they'd rounded the bend, they ran like crazy to get away from the horrible kingdom of rude and proud little kings and queens. "Do you know what?" said Alice. "Some of those people reminded me of the people in Grank's church. They even looked like some of them, all rude and proud and wanting to be noticed." "Same," said Tom. "Remember when Grank read us that bit in the Bible about the first being last and the last being first?" "Exactly," said Tom. "When we get to heaven, I bet all the kind people will have 20 crowns on their heads, and the proud, rude people will be cleaning toilets." "Will there be toilets in heaven?" asked Tom. "I don't know, but there might be, and even if there aren't, someone will have to clean things and serve food," Alice said. They both puffed a bit as they ran. "There's another bit in the Bible," said Tom, "where it says that Jesus will serve food in heaven, so it must be good to do that." Alice groaned. "Let's stop," she said, flopping on the ground. "You're right, of course." Tom grinned. "Even if it is good to serve people food, horrid, proud people wouldn't like doing it, would they, wherever they were, even in heaven?" "No," said Alice, "but who'd want to be served by them anyway?" "Exactly," said Tom. "They'd be horrible at it." Alice nodded. "Wonderful people don't mind having a throne or serving a meal. Either way, they'd be just as glad." Alice took off her crown. "Could we eat this crown, do you think? It looks like Christmas cake to me." Tom broke off a piece and started eating it. "Yuck," he said, "it's nothing like Great's cake." "Can't be too fussy," said Alice. "We might be here for days." Tom moaned. "No," he said, "I can't bear it." Looking at Alice, he added, "Really, I can't." Just then, in some nearby bushes, there was a rustling. They heard Great's voice at first, and then they heard Grank as well. "Quick," whispered Alice, "come and see where they are. But I don't want to frighten them, so be quiet." Tom and Alice slid silently into the bushes and pushed their way through. They could see a light just ahead, but then everything became dark. It was as if night had fallen suddenly. They could still hear the voices of Great and Grank, but they couldn't see a thing. Suddenly Tom and Alice fell down a little bank and landed against something quite hard. When they stood up, they were looking through a window into Great and Grank's kitchen. "What was that?" asked Great. "Not sure," said Grank. "It's coming from inside the pantry." On the pantry door was a small mirror. Great was walking straight towards it. The children pressed hard up against the back of the mirror and shouted, "We're in here!" As Great opened the door, the children were leaning so hard against the mirror that they fell out onto the kitchen floor, almost taking Great with them. "My goodness," said Great, "where did you come from? You weren't in here a moment ago." "Oh, Great," moaned Alice, throwing her arms around her great-grandmother's neck and kissing her. "We've had such a strange adventure. I'm not sure how to explain it." Tom stared at the remains of Grank's chocolate cake, which was still sitting on the bench. "May I please have some more cake?" he asked. "I'm starving." "Of course," said Grank, with a twinkle in his eye. "Now let's hear about this adventure of yours." Sitting with Grank and Great, Alice and Tom explained what had happened as best they could. After they'd finished, Grank went and searched inside the pantry, but neither he nor Great, nor Alice nor Tom could see any bushes or a path or anything that looked like another land. "But this doesn't mean we don't believe you," said Great, "because we've also been on some strange adventures in our time, haven't we, Grank?" Grank laughed. "We have indeed. It sounds like the motto of your adventure is to be kind to everyone, no matter how grand you become." "Yes," said Alice and Tom, "although I really hated those monstrous little equins and nix," said Tom. "And so you should," said Grank. "I might go and make up a song about them." Great shook her head. "We need to be kind to everyone," she said, but she was beaming as at her husband. "Oh, I just need to